All right. We have a lot to talk about today. First thing is this is the spine that I will be using for our AP African American Studies class. This is one of the, I think, 4 or 5 approved texts. And the reason that I chose this one is 2 reasons. One, because it has documents in it. And second of all, because I felt like it focused not like overwhelmingly on slavery, if that makes sense. I felt like the other selections were kind of like more bogged down with that topic, whereas this one I felt like encompassed more of where I like to like focus my attention when studying African American history. And the syllabus that I adopted includes this book. So all of the main reading assignments are from here. I'm trying to show you the table of contents. Here is the overview. So the way that the course is structured is it is in chronological order. So you start with ancient Africa, and then you move forward in time, and you go through various interdisciplinary topics like art and music and photography and history and English or not English, but like language in English, but you know what I mean. So like here's chapter 1, then you have chapter 2. And I got this copy from Abe Books, which is kind of like Thrift Books. I would have gotten it from Thrift Books, but they didn't have it. It's hard to find used copies of this book. And one of the criteria for any AP course is that you have a college level textbook, which this is, that is less than 10 years old. So that's why this is the one, or this is one that fits that criteria. Okay. And if you want to see anything at a slower pace, you can either slow down this video or pause it so that you can actually read what I'm showing you. And then these are the last chapters. And let's just look at one of the document projects, because that's kind of interesting. Oh, maps is another part of the AP standards. Here's the chronology. I'm just going to flip through quickly chapter 1, and because I really want to see what the document project is. Okay, so here's chapter review questions, then here's the document project. Okay, so this is the main spine that we'll be using, and then I have a couple other books that came, so I'll open those up and show them to you from the same course. And I lost the scissors I had last week, so now I have no scissors to help me. Okay, there's 2 books in here. All right, they got warped. That's annoying. Okay, so this one is called Avengers of the New World. Let's look at the back of this one. I think this one is about Haiti. Let's just look through this. And so these are considered secondary, story of the Haitian Revolution. Secondary resources. So these are also assigned in the sample syllabus. Here is the table of contents. We'll just look at the first chapter. This one is annotated. So I don't know what this is. This is not very ethical. Okay, so I don't know what this person's notes are talking about, but anyway, so this is one of the books. There's about 6 or so. The other ones I showed in my last unboxing video. And there's this one. And so there's like a couple of assignments for each chapter. I will be sharing my pacing plan based on the sample syllabus. I went through and I had Stella the computer help me figure out how to pace this out and what assignments to have like Monday through Friday, as well as what assignments in the College Board AP Classroom. And also we are doing the UC Scout Plus option. So I will have those resources, but that's really a lot of like review. Like you already have read through the material and then you're being tested on it, is really, in my understanding, is what the AP Classroom and the UC Scout is for. It's not as much writing and reading per se. There is some in UC Scout, but anyway, this is like a separate, it's kind of, I've explained this before in a previous video, but like with AP courses, there's really two tracks. One is like learning the material and engaging with it and doing these essays and things. And then the other part is like preparing for the test, which involves a lot more like multiple choice and things. And then one other important thing, which I haven't really talked about online yet, is for the AP African American Studies course, the students are expected to engage in a project that they work on over the course of the year, and then they have to give a presentation and have an oral defense of that at the end of the year. And the test itself does ask them about that process. So definitely make sure if you are going to be doing, well, I mean, if you're going to be doing it, you would be reading all of the requirements, but I just want to put that out there. If you're thinking about doing it, that's a big component, which I also feel like is a really big positive, because it seems like a really meaningful way to engage with the material. All right, so we got 2 more boxes, and these books are not related. I'm kind of skipping and talking about a bunch of different things in this video today. Okay, so next, this is actually from Wildwood. I think that's what that curriculum's called. Arlene helped me out last time. This is one of the history books for Wildwood Form 2A, and this might be used, I'm not sure. Joseph Bruchak. And this is like one of the history books that they assign. So I thought that was nice. I like how it's like a picture book, but it's for 6th grader. That is that. And then I have one more box of books, and this is my last set of books for a while. So this is for my rising 9th grader. This is for the multicultural, I don't remember what I'm calling it, 9th grade English for boys who don't like to read. I think that's what we're calling it. This is one unit within that I created with the help of ChatGPT. And this is the nonfiction unit. So the spine for that is Just Mercy. I had no idea that there was a young adult adaptation. This book is amazing. It is about a lawyer, Brian Stevenson. I can't recall if he founded the Southern Poverty Law Center or he became involved with the Innocence Project. He's a Harvard Law grad, and he goes and defends defendants who have had unfair circumstances and are innocent, but for some reason, some sort of evidence that should have been inadmissible was used against them, and then they got sentenced to life in prison. The reason that I am so drawn to his work in particular is when I went to law school, that was my dream, was to, get involved with the Innocence Project, or to go work for the ACLU, and I was going to solve institutional racism and all of these very naive, 20-year-old thoughts. But he is still doing this work to this day, and Just Mercy is like his memoir about his work. So if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it, the adult version for you, and then the young adult version for your child. So that is what this is about. This is the anchor nonfiction text that my son will be reading next year in 9th grade. And there's a movie. This is the movie tie-in. That's what the cover's from. This is the actor who plays him, which I don't know what the actor is. He looks like Nick Cannon to me, but I know it's not Nick Cannon. So this is the tie-in. Let's look at the table of contents. And ChatGPT recommended this because my son liked punching the air. And so that's how that whole conversation got started. But you can see that on the blog if you're interested. Anyway, lots of great information. Moving on, we have the second book actually assigned is The 57 Bus. This is based in Oakland, California. It is based on a true story. I think this is like a narrative reimagining of it. I don't think this is nonfiction per se. True story. Anyway, so this is the second book in this nonfiction unit. And then the third one is based on, it's the John Lewis series of books, March, but this is the graphic novel, which is great for students who don't like to read and who like nonfiction and history and interesting things. So that is this book. And this will be, I think, a 6-week unit, which we are doing. Like, we're going to have a poetry unit. There's 5 novels. And I mean, I put the whole plan on the blog if you're interested. But anyway, that is that. And I want to say one more thing about Just Mercy. I think it's worth reading, even if you're skeptical, even if you don't normally read books like this, you're not interested in the criminal justice system, because you would be surprised how many, especially Black men, get extremely egregious sentences. I did do some research for the Fair Punishment Project about the death penalty, and what research has shown is that it is very disproportionately used against certain defendants and by certain prosecutors. So there are these people that will go after people. For example, if you have someone who was severely subjected to physical and emotional abuse as a child, and then that has impacted their emotional capacity as an adult. It's this very sad, depressing cycle. Or someone is on like antidepressant medications and they tell their therapist, you know, I'm feeling very weird, like I don't know what's going on, you should adjust my meds, and then they give them higher meds and they commit some sort of crime. Or there are cases where some people were fighting and they were provoked, and then they accidentally ended up, causing much more serious physical harm than they intended. And these people end up getting the death penalty, not only life in prison or life without possibility of parole, but the death penalty. And also there are much higher disproportionate sentencing against juveniles of color, for example. If you're really interested in recent Supreme Court case law, look up JLWOPP, which is juvenile life without possibility of parole. So you have teenagers that are committing serious crimes at like 14 years old, 15 years old, and they're getting sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. So that has actually been found unconstitutional by the Supreme Court based on data with, looking at the neuroscience behind youth development. They're not able to think like an adult when they're at such a young age, and there is this possibility for rehabilitation. So anyway, that's just something to put out there. I think it's worthwhile, especially in high school. I feel like this is the time for our kids to be thinking about those things. But those are the last 3 books I have to share with you today. The next thing I want to show you, bless my husband, he printed these out for me. These are for AP courses. So if you are interested in pursuing teaching an AP course, you have several different options, but the 2 most straightforward options are to adopt a sample syllabus or to adopt the unit guide. So the sample syllabus is going to say, I'm using this textbook, I'm going to assign these assignments, and you have to give very explicit, specific assignments. The sample syllabus has these in them, but if you were creating your own syllabus, for example, that is the standard. So the syllabus it's like very specific. You're committing to, I'm going to read these books, we're going to do these essays. I was interested in teaching U.S. history using Memoria Press materials, which are not approved by the College Board. I tried to go through the process of creating and submitting my own syllabus, but what I wanted to do was swap out the Memoria Press college level textbook for the one that was in the sample syllabus, but the sample syllabus is a PDF document, and if you copy and paste the text, the formatting is a disaster, and it's like 48 pages or something crazy like that. So I'm not going to sit here and copy and paste 48 pages and reformat it. It's just not worth my time. So my syllabus was denied because I just said, I'm going to do everything the syllabus says except for the textbook. I just want to switch it out. And the way that it was read or reviewed or whatever, like they were not understanding what I was saying. So instead of adopting their syllabus with their textbook, I'm going to pursue following the unit guide. So the way that this works is you have 9 units or so, and this is like the broad overview. So if you're not familiar with AP US History, I've been getting more familiar with how it is laid out. And I've heard it's notoriously challenging of a course. And I believe that's because it's such a long time period and so much is supposed to be covered. So it is 9 units and you start with 1491 to 1607. These are the main like concepts that you're supposed to cover, and you use historical thinking skills. That's a big buzzword. And there's these different themes. So you're teaching historical thinking skills and you're teaching these themes. And there's one other word, which I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, so these have, and if you look on Khan Academy, they're listed under this. Khan Academy has a comprehensive course for the AP exam preparation, not for the AP course. So if your student is using Khan Academy, that will help them prepare for the test, but I do not believe that is sufficient for AP credit. You also do have to be an authorized AP course audit teacher in order to put AP US History on your student's transcript. So that's why I'm going through the trouble of doing this whole process, but I digress. So we have Unit 1, and you can see here it's 8 class periods, and that's how much of the AP exam it's weighted. Then you have Period 2, which they're saying 14 class periods, and obviously this is written for, a school setting. Then we have Period 3, 1754 to 1800, Period 4, and you can see the different concepts that are covered. Sorry, I've not got a lot of space. And one more thing, at the bottom, it's telling you the personal check to do after the end of the unit. So these, I believe you can find all of these in the AP classroom, like prior exam questions. And you can definitely find these in the UC Scout Plus classroom. I'll have to come back here and let you know. Oh, see here, it says partial versions of the free response questions are provided to prepare students for the exam. So they're in the College Board classroom, which your student gets access to when you audit a course. So we've got Period 5. You can see they're about 10 to 17%. And the variable is because they change the exam each year, so you don't know exactly how much they're going to test on a particular concept. I'm sorry, it's hard to share this loose leaf thing. So my plan is to use the Memoria Press materials for Units 1 through 8 because that's what it covers chronologically. And then this last unit, Unit 9, I'm going to be using the Open Snacks textbook, which is available online for free. And the Bill of Rights Institute now houses it. So they actually have the whole course. So if you are interested in facilitating an AP US History course and you don't want to mess with printed out textbooks or things, I would definitely look into that as an option. I believe it's completely the full course. So if you become an authorized teacher and you create your classroom through the Bill of Rights Institute with their OpenStax textbook, which is called like Life, Liberty, and I don't think it's Pursuit of Happiness. It might be. That's what their text is called. I think you can do that. So anyhow, this is the unit guide. So it has detailed information for the types of assignments you can use, prompts, things to read. Documents and maps are very big for AP US History. So let's go ahead and flip through Unit 1, and then I want to show you AP English Literature. So it says you can go to the AP Classroom, assign the personal progress checks. So that answers that prior question. Here's the unit at a glance. Here's the suggested skill, reasoning process, how many class periods, and here's the themes that they had in the beginning. Right, here are sample activities, guided discussion, quick write, shared inquiry, unit planning notes. And this, by the way, this document is like 188 pages. Oh, it's actually 216 pages, so it's kind of crazy. Contextualizing period 1. So here's your required course content for this unit. And so the guides tell you what you have to teach, but they don't tell you how you have to teach it. That's the difference between the unit guides versus the syllabus. Key concepts, learning objective. And Here is thematic focus, historical developments, available resources here. That would be in the AP Classroom on College Board's website. And then we're here on 1.3. And again, so you get a sense of how this goes forward, and every unit is formatted like this. So it's really a lot. Graphic organizers are big. I keep seeing that word come up. Anyway, lots of resources. Also, another resource I've kind of looked into is there is a teacher discussion forum. So it's by class. So there's a separate forum all for teachers who are teaching AP US history and sharing resources and discussing things. And like I saw one where the teacher put like all the Supreme Court cases that you should look at with your students into the Google Classroom, like Drive or something. So just amazing share of resources. I joined because I kind of want to get a sense of, especially grading, like how teachers are objectively grading their students for essays and things. I want to look for like a good rubric that I can use so that my grading is objective, and I want to be in compliance with all of their requirements so that I don't lose my ability to audit these courses. But also, like, I really like bouncing ideas off of other experienced educators and how they're using materials and different resources and things. So if you do go through that process, that's another resource for you. Next and last, we're going to look at the unit guide for AP English Literature. So the reason that I ended up deciding to audit this course is because I feel like I'm already teaching this course. My student's just not getting credit for it on her transcript or in her GPA. She's already read a lot of the titles in this. We're already doing a lot of the types of assignments that this class requires. So in order to reflect the level of work that my daughter's doing, I felt that it was worth the additional work on my end, just adding those little pieces that we don't have yet. So the only glaring thing that my curriculum plans for next year didn't include was a drama unit. So I went ahead and built out a drama unit. I actually am going to have 2 drama units now. One is going to be on Raisin of the Sun and either the piano lesson or Fences, and the other one is going to be on an Asian American play, which I can't remember what it's called. I think it's Viet Cong or Viet Cong. It is about the Vietnam War, and that's going to be part of a unit that's using the Joy Luck Club as like the anchor novel, and then we're going to look at Asian poetry. And this is all going to be in the context of the Oak Meadow classic literature for the year. So anyway, I am fitting the books that I want my daughter to read into this format. So the way that the AP English Literature year is scheduled, and again, this is the unit guide, not the sample syllabus. I didn't choose the sample syllabus because I didn't want to be tied or wedded to only Western canonical texts. You aren't necessarily, it does say this is an example, but they're like all European. From what I saw, I didn't look at it in depth, but I didn't want to be tied to that format. I wanted to be able to do what I want to do within the AP parameters. So the way that this is structured is by type of literary device. So you can see first you have short fiction, and good thing Oak Meadow has tons of short stories in those 2 books that we looked at in the last video. Then Unit 2 is poetry. Again, they assign poetry, and because I will be incorporating that multicultural literature class from the Coachella Valley School District, I have those 4 anthologies, which I showed you guys in one of my prior unboxing videos. So there's a Native American one, there's a Hispanic American one, African American one, Asian American one, and I believe those contain short stories and poetry and other things. So that's the type of poetry I will be using. Just a quick note, my student has done 3 years of British poetry, so she's already been there, done that with that stuff, and now we're really looking for something new to better round out her education. And I'm really excited for the poems that are in the Asian American unit and the other ones that are that multicultural lens, because they really are like very interesting. I don't know why I just said they are very interesting and like a different perspective. So I think that they really meet the AP criteria for these different skills you've got here, which let's see if it says real quick. So these are the big ideas which they're going to be tested on: character, setting, structure, narration, figurative language, and literary argumentation. And here are the skill categories: explain the function of character, explain the function of setting, explain the function of plot and structure, explain the function of the narrator or speaker, explain the function of word choice, imagery, and symbols, explain the function of comparison, and develop textually substantiated arguments about interpretations of a part or all of a text. So, and again, we have this familiar format of personal progress checks at the end. And this is also by period. So the AP test tests on certain periods. You want to make sure that you're paying attention to whether you've been studying contemporary or 20th century. So again, that all ties in with the things that I personally have planned. The one thing that I wasn't sure of is if you look at one of these poetry things, it says metaphysical poem. So if you guys know what a metaphysical poem is, send me an example of one of those, because I was like, what is going on? I mean, I know what it is, but like, I don't know an example off the top of my head. So unit 1, short fiction, unit 2, poetry, then you do get some choice. So you've got longer fiction or drama 1, short fiction 2, poetry 2. So you want to pay attention to the themes of the unit to make sure that you're covering all of your bases. We're going to be doing longer fiction and drama and contrasting those two. And I might even do excerpts of longer drama, which I usually do not do, but I feel like there's just not enough time to cover everything that I want to cover. And then you can see again, unit 6, longer fiction or drama 2, short fiction 3, and poetry 3. And I think that's all of the units. So, we have one more unit, which is longer fiction or drama 3. You can see, and this guide is available on the College Board website under the course audit for English literature, AP English literature. So if you want to see that, head over there. I might eventually come back and link it. Let's just go ahead and take a look at this. So remember, you've got AP Classroom. You need to assign these for your students to prepare for the test. We have here are the big ideas that you're covering in short fiction, and they want you to be spending about 10 class periods. And then this is like an overview, and this is written to the teacher, by the way. This is your guide for developing the unit studies, and this is what I adopted when I submitted the course. So that is that. And let's go to, so the skill that you're teaching, ensuring understanding skill, essential knowledge, and I'll just flip through here, and again, feel free to pause or slow it down if you want to see it better. And here's your instructional planning page. Be sure you pace everything out. And then here are some examples of instructional activities, which I really found helpful. So here, for example, it says divide Chopin, I don't know if it's Chopin or Chopin. Chopin is the composer. Divide it into 4 short sections based on when things happen. Another one, that's for skill 1. For skill 2, put them into small groups, assign each group a section of that, then have the students list specific details that indicate the setting. So this is how you're teaching them to describe the setting using textual evidence. Skill 4, have them read individually and take notes on the point of view and perspective of the narrator. And then skill 7A, have students read that, and then model pre-writing and drafting a paragraph, which makes a claim accompanied by textual evidence. So that's an important type of writing that is going to be tested on the AP test, is using textual evidence to demonstrate particular things. So definitely a writing heavy course, specific type of writing course, and that is why it is so important to have these instructional checks at the end of each unit that follow a specific format, because that is literally what the AP exam is going to test. So those are the materials for those 2 courses. I hope that this was helpful if you're curious about teaching AP exams in your homeschool. And I will continue to keep you guys apprised of what I'm planning and share to the extent that I can, either here or on my blog, ddchomeschool.com. Otherwise, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, let me know down below.